best fourth movie. Now, the rules here, it doesn't have to be, it just needs to be the fourth movie released, okay? So if the fourth movie released in the franchise is, say, a remake, or something, then it can still count. Right? It doesn't have to be a movie that literally takes place after part 3. Does that make sense? Okay. Yeah. Live Free or Die Hard. Man, this was a really fun entry in the franchise. And I know a lot of people, they got upset because it was not rated R, because we always like the yippee-ki-yay motherfucker. And there is a rated R version where he does say it. And I think that it's nicer to have that in the movie. But that aside, I think Live Free or Die Hard is such a fun movie. Lynn Wiseman directed it, and it's high octane energy. It's got really great stunts. You got Justin Long in there as a really great side character. He's just really fun. And I think John McClane, he suits his age because I have heard some people complain that he's not as wild and crazy and spunky as he is in, say, the first 3 Die Hard movies. But I think given his age, I'll say right now, I've calmed down a little bit, if you can believe that, in my older age. I'm 50 this year. I would like to think that I was a little bit more energetic and crazy back in, like, say, my 20s and 30s. So I think it fits the character. But part 4 is really, really, really freaking fun. I like it. Do you guys like it? Let me know if you guys don't like this movie or not, okay? And by the way, if I don't like the part 4, it's not going on the list, okay? I only put movies that I really like on here, all right? So I'm trying to think, like, what's one that I definitely did not want to put on here because I thought it was horrible. I'm trying to think, but nothing happens. I can't. Damn. I know there was a few I was just like, nope, that was not going on there. No way in hell. Like Jeepers Creepers 4, right? That one would not go on here. All right, next one. Again, no particular order. Bride of Chucky. Just a really fun Chucky movie. I think they switched gears a little bit tonally for this one. And it seems like the fourth movie they got to add something new to the franchise, right? For the first 3, we keep it, but then we got to add something new to keep the audience interest, right? And so then for this one, they add Tiffany, which was a genius stroke. And Tiffany's, she's like the yin to Chucky's yang, and she constantly tests him and drives him crazy. And Jennifer Tilly, this is her first movie in the franchise, and she's very, very sexy. And this one's just so fun. It's got a damn good soundtrack. I like Chucky with his face all like scarred up and everything. I mean, what more can I say about Bride of Chucky? It's really, it feels different than the first 3 movies tonally. Wasn't Bride of Chucky it's still Universal, right? Yeah, I think they're all Universal, but you know what I mean though? This one just feels a little different than the previous 3 tonally. Not too much. I mean, it's still got, they're still core comedies, but I think you know what I mean. I think it was a big step up from 3. 3's definitely not one of my favorites. It does have Don't Fuck with the Chuck, though, which is great. But, yeah. Who the fuck is Martha Stewart? Exactly. I think it has a lot of great Chucky lines in it. And then you have the love scene between Chucky and Tiffany. Guys, tell me what that movie is. Can anybody tell me what that movie is? I just reviewed most of these movies. I still got to review part 2. That's another YouTube tip. I need to finish what I started, okay? I'm critiquing myself now, all right? I still, for some reason, I start panicking when I get to the last movie in a franchise. I don't know why. And something like keeps me from doing it. But, so I haven't done Wrong Turn 2, but I always hear that 2's like probably one of the best. So I need to watch it. But right now, as it stands, part 4 is my favorite Wrong Turn movie. I think it is gold. I think it's got a fresh new setting in the snow. The kills are gory as hell. I love the characters in this. It doesn't like reinvent the wheel or anything for Wrong Turn. But I think it's fresh and new because it's set in the snow, and I just like the characters, and I love the inventiveness of the kills. You know, really fun movie, Wrong Turn 4, and I think it has one of the best twists. Like, it's not really a twist, but it's an unexpected ending. Okay, it's one of those, like I was talking about in my recent review of The Baby. It's one of those, they pull the rug out from under you. Kind of like that at the end of the new Texas Chainsaw Massacre that you can't buy on physical media at the moment, right? It's kind of like that ending. I don't want to spoil it just in case you haven't seen it, but man, it's a fun ending for sure. So, yeah. Lance Chafin, Texas Chainsaw, The Next Generation. Yeah, that's one that didn't make it. It didn't make the run. It didn't make the cut. Even though I love Matthew McConaughey in that movie, he is the saving grace of it, but man, I think I've only watched it all the way through once. It's a tough watch. It really is. Man, I love this one. Sudden Impact. I didn't know that Sudden Impact was the fourth movie, but I did my research, and sure enough, it is the fourth movie in the Dirty Harry. And I haven't even seen all the Dirty Harry movies. You know, this was a timing thing, because this movie came out when I was, I want to say maybe like 12, something like that. I can't remember exactly when it came out. Maybe I was younger. But I remember seeing it on HBO. And I think it's the first Dirty Harry movie that I'd ever seen. And man, I loved it. And because it was called Sudden Impact, I didn't even know that there were any previous Dirty Harry movies. But man, I just love Callahan's attitude in this, and how he just doesn't give a shit about anything. He's a mean son of a bitch. And there's a dog, I think it's like a bulldog and he hates the dog all the way through the movie. But then at the end of the movie, they I'm just gonna spoil it. They kill the dog, and boy, that's it. That's what drives him crazy. Okay, now you're going to pay. All right, and boy, do they. And it's a great freaking final act because it takes place in this like carnival. Man, what a I still think, even though I haven't seen all the Dirty Harrys, I'm gonna go ahead and call it and say this one's the best. It's gotta be. Okay. There we go. Scream 4. I think we talked a little bit. I think that's a set photo because you don't see the yellow filter too much on that. Would you guys agree with that? I think that is definitely a set photo. But I'd say this right now. Nothing's ever going to beat the final act of the first movie. But it's tough. It's tough for me to say this is better than 2, though. 2 and 4 have really phenomenal final acts. And I think 4 is really saved by Jill, Emma Roberts. I just loved that character and how ahead of the game she was and how she almost got away with it. You know, and I think they should have made her get away with it. Would that have been cool, guys? If at the end of the movie she got away with it somehow, Sydney, don't kill Sydney, leave her alive, but make it to where she doesn't know, like leave it open to where Jill doesn't know that Sydney lived, and then you move on to the next movie, to part 5. I think Jill would have been a great character to continue. If I'm being honest. Yeah, oh my God, what a freaking movie. Jesus. Seeing this opening night in the theater back in 1985. That's why I was like highlighting 85 in this, because I think that's about the age I am in that picture that I showed you. That guy, he went to see this movie in the theater opening night, and man, it's to this day one of the best movie experiences I've ever had. Seeing that crowd lose their freaking minds during that final fight and during the training montage. Oh my God, Rocky IV, man. And I know you can pick it apart because of the time frame, the 80s. And I know you can pick it apart because of maybe it has one too many montages, but it's okay. It just really pumps you up. I think more than most of the Rocky movies, this one got me pumped up the most. He's fighting a literal machine, right? Like, there's been some recent interviews with Stallone, and he talks about originally they wanted this kind of burly, hairy Russian dude that almost looked like a freaking monster, like a gorilla almost. It was almost like Rocky was going to fight a monster. And right at the, he had like 1,000 guys come in to try out for Drago. And when Dolph Lundgren came in, he said, I completely changed the game up. I immediately saw what I wanted to do with Drago when Dolph Lundgren, because Dolph Lundgren, he looked like a perfect specimen. He looked like a model. He was a model. He was highly intelligent. He was the future. And Rocky was the past. So it was like the past versus the future. And, the training montage, it's broken up in that way. Rocky is using the elements and nature and creating his own workout regimen, whereas Drago is using the latest technology. And, he's almost avoiding, being uncomfortable, right? Like he's in a nice heated area. And Rocky just has that edge. He's using the elements. He's freezing to death. He's running up a freaking mountain. So he does all that so that way you can believe that he could beat this guy by the time they get to the final fight. But man, Rocky 4. Rambo 4, man, this one, everybody doubted this movie, because they waited so long, just like they did with Rocky Balboa. When Rocky Balboa first came out, before it was released, everybody had their doubts. Even the studio fought Stallone tooth and nail to get that movie out because they were like, you're too old. And they're probably right. It was a gamble. But Rocky Balboa was a big hit. Same thing with Rambo. Everybody was really skeptical, but Stallone, man, he came in and he really put his money where his mouth is. He owned it. He was believable as a force in Rambo 4. And, I can kind of relate all this YouTube advice I was giving you guys earlier to Stallone. Stallone sees it through. He doesn't half-ass anything. He pretty much puts his own health and safety on the line to give you the finished product. He almost killed himself in Rocky 4 because he wanted that fight to feel so real, Most people wouldn't go that extra mile like Stallone does in his movies. And these movies, they last forever. And Rambo 4, man, I immediately got what he was doing with Rambo 4 from the first moment that the missionaries walk into that I'll just call it the snake pit, wherever he was working, and he's just hard, and he's, Rambo's always been a very hard, not very vocal type of character anyway, but he takes it to another level in this one, and he's like, fuck your war. And he's like, go home. He keeps telling him, go home. I don't care about you. Just leave me alone. I need to do my thing, And it takes this young woman, he sees her, that she's going to be in danger. That's what brings him out of it. But I loved Stallone's performance in Rambo 4. And man, it's bloodier than most horror movies, Yeah. So, yeah, Rambo 4. Proud to put that one on my list. Okay, couple more. Nightmare 4, it's on the list, okay? I do really, really enjoy this one. And now, if I had to rank it among the first 4, it would probably be in 4th place. But having said that, I still have a ball with it. I love the soundtrack. I love how it feels, like the time frame that it came out. I think Rennie Harlin, he put his own stamp on this movie, and I think it worked really well. I just love the backstory of Rennie Harlin and how, he put himself on the line and he begged and pleaded to get this job directing. He would sleep on couches. He didn't even have a home. He was pretty much, they thought he was homeless. And he would keep showing up at Bob Shaye's office, begging him for a chance. And Rennie Harlin was like the last guy that Bob Shaye wanted to direct this movie. And, perseverance. Again, I can tie it right back to what I was talking about with YouTube. He never gave up. Perseverance. He kept fighting and fighting and fighting, and he figured out a way to get the job. And he did. He got the job. And he made one of the most unique nightmare movies. That theater scene is so ahead of its time. and groundbreaking. And I think if Nightmare 4 wasn't a Nightmare on Elm Street movie and it was just some kind of oddball horror movie, I think it would have got a lot more recognition. But make it get. Don't forget the steroids. Mad Max, boy, you got to put this one on here, right? Man, what a surprise this movie was. Because like Rambo 4, we didn't see a Mad Max movie for ages, for years. I mean, the last Mad Max movie was Beyond Thunderdome, which was, I think, in the late 80s. And then this movie comes out in 2015. Do I have to do that math? So you got 90 to 2000, that's 10, right? And then we got 2000 to 2010, that's 20. And then we got 2010 to 2015, that's 5. So that's a roughly 25 years. That was my Howard Stern math. But yeah, 25 years it took to get this movie. And then for it to be as awesome as it was and being arguably one of the best Mad Max movies, wow, what a great freaking movie. It was literally like an energy burst. That's what this movie was. And it's just such a simple plot. Really, the plot of this movie is they go this way, and then they turn around, and then they go back this way. That's it. The whole movie is 2 directions. That's it. Forward, and then we got to go back. That's the whole movie. It's funny if you really think about it. But, man, it's a wild ride. And you got a guy freaking kicking ass and medaling out on a guitar, swinging from the front of one of the vehicles. Yeah, just a fun movie. Action-packed. I can't wait for Furiosa. So, I think this is the last one. Oh, no, it's not. Oh, no, we still got a few more, actually. Okay. So, should I skip that one? I'll briefly, because Harry Potter has a special place in my heart because my kids, growing up, were the actual same age as the kids in Harry Potter. So, it was kind of cool watching them grow up with Harry Potter, the kids, But I like Goblet of Fire, and I don't think people talk about it enough. I think it gets outshined by what's the one that came out before Goblet of Fire? That's the one that people seem to love the most, which I don't really get. I think I prefer Goblet of Fire, but I think even Order of Phoenix might be my favorite Harry Potter movie, if I'm being honest. Azkaban. That's it. Everybody seems to love Azkaban. I think it's okay. Funny enough, there's kind of a parallel between Azkaban and Nightmare 4 because there is a time loop section in both movies, right? I didn't even think about that, but yeah, there is. So yeah, but Goblet's fun because it takes place around this whole game that they got to play. They got to play this tournament, and games and tournaments, they're fun in these type of movies. And I think the characters are at like pivotal points in their childhood. This is where they start becoming teenagers in Azkaban, but this is where you get more relationships and whatnot, and then they're a little bit more emotional. And I really like Goblet. I like all the Harry Potter movies. They're fun movies. Okay, so I think we got 3 more. Yeah, 3 more. Okay, so here we go. Again, no particular order. Halloween 4. I've talked ad nauseum about this movie. I'm sure you don't want to hear me talk about it anymore, but I love it. I love it to death. I hate to use the word perfect, but it's almost perfect. And I know The Mask gets a lot of flack, and you're right, but man, to me, it's just a perfect sequel. It checks every freaking box, And that twist ending just really floored me. Really, I wasn't prepared for that, okay? Love the characters, love the tone, love the cinematography, love Loomis in the movie. I could go on and on and on. I think Dwight H. Little did a damn good job with this movie, and I hope and pray that he gets the opportunity to make a Halloween 4 Part 2. I would absolutely, that would be my Christmas, if I'm being honest. If I could get one movie made in the next 3 years as a gift to me, that would be it. Halloween 4 Part 2. If he can come back as strong as he did with that movie, because I think Dwight H. Little was hungry when he made Halloween 4. You could see that's a director that, man, he had a vision. And if he could come back as strong with the sequel, make sure that it doesn't look cheap, Make sure the cinematography feels like it did in that movie. Yeah. Give me that all freaking day, baby. Next one, Friday 4. I'll give the spotlight to Jimmy and Ted just because they're so damn fun. But pretty much everything I said for Halloween 4, it's the same thing for Friday 4. Perfection. Guys, if you want like in-depth, detailed analysis of this movie, I just did a commentary and I made it public right after. I did it with my patrons and my channel members. Okay. By the way, I do those once a month. Consider becoming a channel member or a patron. And matter of fact, I have my, I painted my wall back there. I recorded the whole process. I vlogged it. So I'm going to be putting that together hopefully this weekend, and I'll put that out to the patrons and the channel members so that way you guys can see. That's not going public either. That's exclusively for you guys. You can see my whole process of painting this entire back wall, and how I almost pulled my hair out. Definitely not least, Evil Dead, the remake. Wow. I mean, it might be my favorite Evil Dead movie. If I got to have a conversation with myself about it, but man, it's just so good and unique and different. And I love the tone, how dark it is. I think when you're making a sequel that doesn't have Ash, you got to come swinging, you got to come out swinging. And boy, did they. This movie does not fuck around at all. Okay. Matt, this is the ultimate fuck around and find out movie. I don't even remember if I put it on the list, but if I didn't, I should have. But I love Jane Levy. You're never going to compete with Bruce Campbell and what he did, but I think it was really cool that she ended up losing her hand and she got like the chainsaw at the end of the movie. Just really cool. But man, it's probably the Evil Dead movie I watched the most too, if I'm being honest. It really is. It's another freaking perfect movie. So what is it about part 4, guys? Part 4 movies, I think more times than not, they end up being great. It's almost like part 4 is kind of a reset for any franchise. And if you go through like this list of all the part 4s that I've talked about, I think most of them are kind of a reset. Like freaking like Bride of Chucky, like this movie Evil Dead. Rocky 4 was kind of a reset because the first 3 had their own tone. Rambo 4 was kind of a reset. Live Free or Die Hard. I think that's the thing that makes part 4 movies great. You can't do the same thing that you just did. You have to regroup, realign, right? What's up, guys? You are at the end of the DD Live clip. What I do is I like to clip these out if I think the topic is important or something that's newsworthy. So thank you for watching. And if you want to watch more, you can go over here. You can go over here, click on one of those. And hopefully I can do this for 20 seconds, which I think I did. Okay, so yeah, thanks for watching, guys.